Act as best scriptwriter and change the script so it won't match with original one. Make it spin the content, and remove any channel name if there. Write the description of around 8,000 words. Remove timestamps, 47, $490 versus $599. Which phone gives you more in 2025? YouTube https www.youtube.com watch VAKJTRS9 VFHGQ transcript 0020. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is the new $499 Google Pixel 9a. This is the $599 iPhone 16e, and this might just be one of the most fascinating matchups of this generation. Not just Android versus iPhone, but Google and Apple's vision of what a mid-range phone should be in 2025, 2022. So, which of these companies actually gives you more? I'm going to rate the phones in each category out of 10, and at the end, we'll factor in price and choose a winner. Starting with what you get in the box is not much. Both phones offer the ultimate in environmental friendliness by including basically nothing. No charger, no case, no screen protector, just a USB-C cable and the phone, 045. So, a very underwhelming start, but equally underwhelming. I give them both a 4 out of 10. Looking at the design, this is what convinced me to make this video. These phones look like they were made to go head-to-head. From the frosted backs, centered logos, and side curves to even the placement of the flash next to the cameras, it feels like two interpretations of the same concept. Anito 105. Apple uses glass, Google uses plastic, but Google's finish feels surprisingly premium. Both phones feel well-built, and both come with IP68 ratings. And that camera bump, it's the smallest I've seen in years. Aesthetically very clean, though. I'll come back to a problem with that later. For design, 8 points each. Dead even, while being 26. Then you turn them on. And here's where it gets more interesting. The Pixel's bezels are noticeably thicker than you'd want at this price point, while the iPhone brings back the notch. I thought we were done with those. It sits in that awkward place between the SE's black bars and the flagship's dynamic island, 0143. But then the Pixel has a 120 Hz refresh rate, which the iPhone does not. It's one of very few phones where a high refresh rate is off by default, but it's there. And while the iPhone does have slightly higher resolution and stronger front glass, I'd still give the Pixel the edge overall. 02, Ausau. Pixel gets 7, iPhone D gets 6. Audio next. When you play music, the iPhone sounds better, fuller, more depth, better bass. The Pixel sounds okay, but more compressed. On the flip side, phone calls are crucial, and the iPhone is noticeably clearer. On the Pixel, voices sound walkie-talkie-ish, a little peaky. On the iPhone, everything's sharper, more lifelike, 221. So, I give the Pixel 6 for audio and calls an iPhone 9. Now, performance. The Pixel 9a uses the same Tensor G4 chip as a flagship Pixel 9. The iPhone 16 uses a version of the A18 chip. Same one as a flagship, but bend with one GPU core disabled. Still, Apple's chip is far more powerful in real-world gaming. 00244. It's about 40% better. The Pixel is competent, but the iPhone runs laps around it. So Pixel gets 6, iPhone gets 9. Software-wise, both phones come with a full flagship experience. Google's promising 7 years of updates. Apple promises 5, but usually delivers more. No bloatware on either. Pixel has all the new Gemini AI tools, Magic Editor, and useful image tools like Best Take for photos. 311. iPhone has everything you'd expect, though Dynamic Island is missing, and iOS lately feels more awkward, especially in photos. Android just feels ahead. More AI integration, more stability, smarter features. So, Pixel gets 9, iPhone 7. But here's where Apple fights back. Ecosystem. If you were to fully buy into one ecosystem or the other, Apple wins easily. 0335. The iPad outclasses a Pixel tablet. the Apple TV is smoother than Google TV, and the MacBook is arguably the best laptop for most people, way ahead of Chromebooks. Even though Android gives you more device choice, it comes at the cost of deep integration. Apple's ecosystem just works together better. Face ID lets you authorize payments more reliably than Google's fingerprint scanner. 3/57. More third-party accessories exist for iPhones. Even little things like syncing gym equipment or digital passes just happen more smoothly on iPhone. So, while I prefer Android as a platform, I still use an iPhone. For ecosystem, Pixel gets 8, iPhone gets 10. Cameras. This is where both companies underwhelm a bit. 0417. Pixel 9 is actually downgraded from the 8A. Smaller main sensor, lower resolution, possibly to achieve that flat design, but it still has an ultra-wide, which Apple completely omits. At this price, that's disappointing. Both main cameras are fine. They shoot decent images, but neither is exceptional. 436. Zoom is awful on both. iPhone video is slightly better, as Pixel misses out on the flagship's Video Boost feature. Pixel has an ultra-wide selfie mode, which is nice for group shots, but no autofocus, so sometimes faces are soft. I'd say Pixel 7, iPhone 6. Battery life is solid on both. I ran a 2-hour mixed-use test. Social media, YouTube, general apps with the Pixel on 120 Hz and the iPhone at 60 Hz. Pixel ended with 86%, 05/06, iPhone with 91%. So yes, iPhone lasts longer. You can get more from the Pixel by turning off high refresh rate, but that defeats the point. Charging is mediocre on both. No charging box, slow wired speeds, basic wireless charging with no magnets. Pixel gets 6, iPhone gets 7. That brings us to final scores. Odds 0525. iPhone finishes with 66 points. Pixel with 61. So yes, iPhone wins by 8%. But you're also paying 20% more for it. And Pixel phones nearly always go on sale after a few months, while iPhones tend to hold their price. When you factor that in, the Pixel 9a becomes a better value. Just wait for a sale. 547. Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe my channel for more tech updates. Thanks for watching.